book that you're writing.
Yep, on this airplane.
Okay,
I have
my
to
name's
contact-
Brian Bear. Is that it?
Yep, you can show me your walk around.
Okay, so normally I start where I'm going to enter the airplane, and so I start right here. And obviously, you're just looking for any defect or anything that maybe happened on the last ride. Feel the leading edge of the horizontal stabilizer. Come back. Make sure that there's no damage to the edge of the horizontal stabilizer, to the fiberglass. And then I check these two bolts right here to make sure that the nuts are there and then that they haven't loosened. So you
How can you tell they're not safety wired?
They're not safety wired, they're nylon locked.
Okay.
Normally, as a good rule of thumb, there's at least 3 threads worth of thread past the nut. So if there's 3 plus, then you're good to go.
There's
Always.
the trim.
Here's the trim right
It's
here.
not quite neutral.
Not quite
Pretty
neutral.
close.
From here, I look at the underneath side, make sure that there's no damage underneath, and then I check my cable at this point. Make sure that this nut is here. This is a castle nut with a cotter pin on it, so you can see that the cotter pin is there. And then from here, I look at, there's 3 on the rudder here, 3 bolts with nuts. So I check this one. This one's got like 7 or 8 threads showing. And again, it's a nylon locking nut.
You see that?
The second one is right here in the middle. Make sure that that one's locked. And then the third one is right here.
Okay.
Okay. And I jump to this side. We check this rudder cable. Okay. The nut is on it and it's locked. We don't need to check these again because we checked them from that side, but we do need to check these 2. So again, there's 3 threads on that one, and there's about 3 threads on this one. Those nuts are installed. Check the edge of the horizontal stabilizer again. Make sure there's no cracks in it, and then the leading edge. So everything in the tail section looks to be good. We'll look at the fuselage. Everything here looks good. Now we'll move to the flaps. And the flaps are kind of hard to check. The only thing that I really check on the flaps is to make sure that this nut is locked. See, I'm twisting it.
Yes.
The rod's moving, but the nut's not moving, so it's fully engaged. Make sure that that nothing's loose there.
Okay.
And then the only other place that you can really check on the actual flap itself, this one's kind of hard to see, but you can see a piano head hinge down there, and there's a wire that's sticking out.
Yes, I see that.
To make sure that that wire isn't pushed over and is touching the aileron. If that wire is in there, then your flap is fully attached. We'll move to the aileron here. We'll want to check 2 spots. There's a nut right here that's holding the actual control portion of the aileron.
I see that.
And then on the underneath side, you can kind of see it from up here, but it's easier to actually lift the aileron up and look underneath. So just get on a knee here, and then this is the other nut that we're looking for. So that looks good. Again, on the underneath side, on this side, same thing. There's a nut right here. We see at least 3 threads, so that one's properly tightened. We'll walk around the wing.
Okay.
There's no control on this side.
No.
The control is on the inner side. Make sure that there's no damage to the hanger or from the hanger to the airplane. And then on the front leading edge, I'm not going to check anything with my fuel at this point because we're going to go fuel it, but normally what I would do, and this is where I use my screwdriver, is open, pull, and you can see here, usually when you barely see a little fuel in the bottom, it's right at about half.
Okay.
Somewhere between half and a quarter, if you can see fuel right there. So we're going to install that back in. It's not going to want to go. There we go. Okay. In a normal one, at this point, I would check the fuel in this tank. So we'll take our strainer. I usually try to do at least an inch, maybe 2 inches. Check to make sure, you know, that there's a blue tint and that there's no moisture, no water in it. I typically don't put the fuel back in. I throw it. So I'm not going to put this back in. But you could leave, you know, the fuel open and then just dump it back in if you prefer.